here, Texas, all the way from Texas, where they do things big. So she called me. She said, "Saran, let's go live. Let's talk about being positive in 2021 after all we've been through in the last 18 months around money." And I said, "All right, Dawn, let's do it." So here we are today. I'm going to introduce you to my girl, Dawn. She is a multifaceted entrepreneur from Texas. She does a lot around dance and choreography and ministry and health and wellness, and also finances, like myself. And so we're really excited to be here with you today to have this conversation. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I can see my chat just in case when you all join, you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll be able to see it. But we're just going to drop some jewels with you today, a few diamonds you can use to kind of bring some things back into perspective if you need to, or get you on the right track if you were never on the track to kind of move forward. So I'm excited to be here. I'm partnered with the American Classic Agency. My company is covered by Saran, and I also work very closely with some friends over at 10K Cards, and that's how you can find me at saran10k.com. But today we really just want to connect with you on a personal level. So you should be seeing this live on my personal page if not, and I'll share it on my business page eventually. But let's get started. Dawn, come on into the room so we can get started and have this conversation.
Hello, Saran. Thank you so much for agreeing to go live with me today. So Saran and I met each other through American Classic Agency. She has been in financial services, I think, a little bit over a year or two. And that's how I met her. And so I am very new to the business. But just in getting to know her a little bit, I was just very impressed with her work ethic. I was impressed with her energy and her passion, really, for helping individuals and families create generational wealth for themselves, as well as just really getting in a much better, positive, not only money mindset, but really creating opportunities for themselves to become financially independent. And so, what I know of her is that she's had over 20 years of experience working for Fortune 500 companies, and everything that she's experienced professionally in the past has really helped to prepare her to be successful in the financial services industry. And so I just loved her energy and her vibe. And I'm like, look, let's just go live and kind of share what we do and how we help people. And that's how we got started here today.
Yeah, so this is super cool. So I think the one thing when we start talking about a positive money mindset is we got to change our minds first, right? Because a lot of times when I talk to people, they want to jump in and go right to, the money plan, but really a lot of it is about education first, because a lot of us were miseducated about finances. Let's just call a spade a spade. I'll be honest. I mean, I went to lots of schools and I don't feel like I got the right money education through all those schools and degrees that I got. And I just feel like, why was somebody keeping this stuff a secret from me? Like, why didn't nobody say, okay, this is the real deal, kid? And and so that really led me to my passion, which is sharing and educating others, to just say, I'm going to just start talking about this and get out here in these streets. And these virtual streets. Get out here in these virtual streets and start talking to folks and helping people to change their lives and transform them. Now, one thing I do want to mention that the both of us, we're very partnered with one of the premier agencies in financial services, which is mostly African American owned and woman owned, which is phenomenal in this industry and typically unheard of. But the thing is that everybody here has a passion to help people. And that's really the most important thing, which is why I decided to partner with them with my company. And then the other thing is that the passion and the work that we do, we are both, Dawn and I, focused on putting $1 billion as a part of the agency back into the community, helping people get their money on track in such a way that we know that there'll be over $1 billion left in a community for the people that we're connected to, our 6 degrees. And so that's why we're going live, to kind of talk about it. And so, and doing that, we really just have to think about what's the mind shift that we need to have. And I'm gonna throw it back to you, Dawn, for a second, and just, give me something positive, because I know you got the coach and the motivational speaker in you. Now, mind you, I'm gonna tell you, she called me and tried to help me get off coffee. It worked a little bit. I'm down to an actual 1 cup, not the 6 cups I was putting in my carry-on, but she's definitely motivational. So, but I'm gonna hand it to you. Just something to help us, get those breaths and get us to a place where we're like, all right, let's talk about this.
Well, you can only help people that want to be delivered. So if you don't want to be delivered from your coffee habit, it won't work. But
I don't think I want to be delivered.
It's okay. It's all right. So in other areas where I, have businesses, one of the biggest things that I do is coach. And one of the things that I have found is that our mindset toward anything, it doesn't matter what it is in our life that we want to improve on or whatever we want to achieve, the biggest limit, and since we're talking about financial prosperity, is our soul, our mind, will, and emotions. There's a really famous book that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And I always tell my clients that as a man or woman feels in her heart, the emotions that accompany specific thoughts, especially negative ones,
right,
those are the things that either limit our financial abundance or they propel us into greater and greater realms of financial prosperity, abundance, and wealth creation. And so for me, honestly, I was raised in poverty. One of the reasons why I decided to partner with American Classic Agency is because I had no financial education as a child, preteen, or teenager, or even into my college years. One of the things I've learned as an adult is that our education system does not prepare us to be financially sound and stable adults. Our education system may prepare us for professional experience in a particular field, but it does not teach us how to grow economically. And so one day, basically, I just decided that I didn't want to tolerate my own financial circumstances.
right.
And so I decided that I needed to spend some time on learning about finance, like basically educating myself through various ways. And then I needed to cultivate what I would call a really positive money mindset. And so in short, I know this is going to sound really simplistic, but when you become whatever it is that you want in your life, when you become literally obsessed with it, that is when you will be able to start reaching for it. So I just began to raise my level of expectation. I began to raise the fact that I did not want to live paycheck to paycheck for somebody else the rest of my life. I decided that I didn't want to just have a little bit of savings in a normal savings account, earning less than the rate of inflation every single year. That I really, believe it or not, that I wanted to leave a financial legacy to my children's children. And sometimes I encounter adults that say, well, I don't want to leave nobody rich, and I'm like, that's in my opinion, that's a really selfish mindset, because if your parents or your grandparents had left you a financial legacy, would that not have helped you get started on a better foot as a 18-year-old or a 22-year-old stepping into the world? I would love to be able to do that for my children and my children's children. So basically, one of the things that I began to do was I began to raise my expectations and I began to dream big. But I also knew that if I was going to achieve these things, I was going to have to learn how to do them. So having financial education is extremely important. And so I began to search out ways to, in all honesty, learn some of the secrets that the richest people in our culture know. Now, let me say this real quickly and then I'll pause. And that is that the rich, they educate their children financially. They teach them.
For that one.
They do. They teach them how to be wealthy. They teach them how money works. They teach them about investments. They teach them everything that they know and all of the loopholes and all of the special perks. They teach them all of that so that they remain in financial wealth the rest of their life. It is the middle class and of course the poor in our country that are the least financially educated. And that is why we, in all honesty, bear the brunt of most of the taxes in our culture. And it's why we are in this rat race that we can't seem to get out of.
Yeah. I love everything you just said. A couple things really stuck out for me, right? You talked about teaching our children how to manage the money, right? And the one thing I'll pull out from that is, in order for the parents to teach the children, the parents have to learn.
Exactly.
Right. And the other thing that I pulled out, and the thing is that in order for the parents to learn, now we live in the world of information right now. If this were 20 years ago, all this information wouldn't be available. We wouldn't be able to go live 20 years ago.
Right.
I don't think we were allowed on Facebook back then. I think it was just college kids, and I definitely wasn't in college 20 years ago. But the thing is that now that we have this information, what I notice is we're just becoming information hogs. We're gathering the information. You're coming to the Facebook Live. I see a bunch of y'all on live. Drop a comment. Let us know you're here. And what happens is we gather all this information. We're like squirrels collecting information for the winter, and you never actually use the stuff because you never take action, right? And so the thing is that when you come to an event, when you come to a Facebook Live, or you go to a webinar, or you go to a face-to-face event, or you meet with someone in the financial services industry, and they start talking to you about things, you got to let go of the fear and make a decision to move forward. And I think that's where the gap is. And sometimes the moving forward and taking the next step is where additional learning will come, because as you start to do and exercise some of the financial tools and some of the tricks, because we're going to talk about a couple in a second, then you're going to learn about the next one, because you're not going to learn about the opportunity number 10 because you never did number 1, and you won't have the opportunity to move forward and do different things. I know I've seen so many of people who are doing the investing, and I know, and I always tell people, because they ask me, they're like, oh, I want to create generational wealth. Does real estate work? Does stocks work? Does this work? Does that work? And my answer is always, they all work.
They all work.
Will you work?
Right.
The question is, will you work? Because they all work. Nothing is overnight. My least favorite statement is passive income. You know why?
It's not passive. You
gotta work. You gotta do some work to get it to at some point where not like a month, like you gotta work years, right? Not like you gotta have to put some years of effort into it before you're gonna see anything like that is passive, in almost any industry, right? And so let's talk about some basic things that people can do, right? So if you find yourself here and you're like, you know what, whatever happened, you got your stimulus, if you got that, if you were eligible, hopefully you were able to stay employed during the height of the unemployment. If you were not, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that you're able to get back on track. But the first thing you need to do is you got to know what's coming in and what's going out. And that's a basic thing. You can call it what you want. You can call it a budget. You can call it a spend plan. You can call it a list. I don't care what you call it. But how do you know what's going on if you don't know what's coming in and going out? Even if at the end of that budget is negative. Been there, done that, right? Even if it's negative, at least you know exactly,
at least you know
how much more you need to make up, right? If you need to start a business or do different things, right? That's the most basic thing. And then the other thing is you got to protect your income. Yes. And people really, they skip this step. Most people do the budget, they skip protecting their income, they go right to saving or potentially investing, and then they go right to trying to do debt elimination. I'm all for debt elimination. It's my favorite thing to do with my clients. You want to talk to me about, you got a whole bunch of debt, I'm your girl, come see me, right? But we got to do the basic things first. And so getting those things in place, protecting your income, because what happens if tomorrow you're no longer here? Right. What happens to the people that you love, that you get up and go to work for, that you have their picture on your desk or on your cell phone or in your car or wherever or however you work, that is like, you know what, I'm here because I got to make it happen for them, right? What happens to them when you're no longer here? Or God forbid, and that's like the worst of the worst, but God forbid something happens and you're still here, but you can't earn income. It's a challenge. And it may come with some additional medical bills. Medical bills is one of the top reasons people file bankruptcy. It's not Credit card
It's
debt.
that is usually above consumer debt. Medical bills are usually the top reason for people
And
file
so
bankruptcy.
by doing that, by working with a financial professional like Dawn or I, to get that protection in place, then we can start working on some savings. And depending on how we do the protection, you might be able to do some things simultaneously. But I'm going to tell you the one thing that's most important, and no matter what, and whatever the plans are, that when you set up a time and you meet with one of us, and that's important. I keep saying that because you got to meet with somebody. Even my trainer, I go to a trainer, and even my physical trainer has her own trainer.
Yeah.
So why do we DIY the most important part of our lives?
Right.
Even my physical trainer has a trainer. I chuckled, we were working out. Now she tried to kill me. That's a whole nother story. I only been going 3 weeks. She been working me out like I've been there 6 years. We'll have another conversation about that. But even she knows that she needs someone else to train them, because someone else spending time training them will see your blind spots. They'll see things you won't notice because you're too involved. Right. And so that's why it's important to meet with a financial services professional. So as you start to build this foundation, right, let's just think about a house. When we put a foundation on a house, I use this example a lot when I do webinars and I talk to people. When we're building the house, the most important thing we're going to put down is a foundation. And that foundation is the thing that is going to hold that house up no matter what. And even in most tragedies that we've seen, from storms and things that have come through, and most disasters, usually when you go through the horrific things that have happened in that neighborhood, that foundation in them and those homes are still there.
Right.
And so that's what we have to do with our finances. We have to make our foundation indestructible when it comes to our families. And oh, by the way, my single ladies and single guys, you need it too. Because guess what? Even if you don't have kids or your own kids, you might have nieces and nephews, but you might have to have somebody come help you. And if somebody got to take off of their job to come help you, it's easy to say, don't worry about it. If you got your right protection, then you could take care of them and they don't have to worry about doing what they need to do. Right. And so putting that foundation in place is going to be one of the number one things that we do. Then we really want to focus on an emergency savings that you can get to, pretty quickly. It's liquid. It's protected and things like that. And getting to that money really quickly to do whatever you need. So you don't have to fall back on your credit cards. Because if you have cash, why would you go and charge it for 15% or whatever the rate is now, whatever the ridiculous rate is now, right? Mm-hmm. And then we talk about long-term things. And for emergency funds, 3 to 6 months of expenses, period. If you can get the 3 to 6 months of income, which is different than expenses, of your income, that's phenomenal, right?
Absolutely.
But if you can at least get to expenses, make it a goal, make a small goal, start with a goal of 1 month and then get to 2 months and then get 3 months, but get it on your plan to do that. And then we want to talk about retirement. And then we can put together some different things. Now, when we work with our clients at American Classic Agency, we have some algorithms and some programs and some different things that we do. Once you set an appointment with Dawn or I, well, we can put things together for you in a system where you might be able to knock all of that out systematically with 1 or 2 different tweaks and ways. And so, but it's important to really take stock of where you are and take a step back and just plan better for what you want there to be in the future. Now, the other thing is, and I want to scroll back and then I'm going to punt it back to you, Dawn. Okay. You said, what we learned in school and different things. Here's the one thing that I learned in school. I learned how to think. I don't know that everybody went to college or went to high school or wherever they got education or certifications. I learned how to think critically for myself, to take the information, evaluate it, and think, okay, this sounds good, but does it resonate with me? How does this apply to my life? I run into a lot of people who say, well, so-and-so said on TV, or so-and-so said over here, or I watched 36 YouTube videos, because they watching 36 YouTube videos because they hoarding information, right? And tell me what all 36 people did. And I want to know what you gonna do. What are you gonna do? Like, which one are you gonna use? Are you just gonna keep collecting the information, absorbing people's energy and not using it, not putting anything back out into the world? Or are you gonna take some action on something, right?
Mhm.
But we got to start thinking for ourselves and thinking about our household, because Dawn's in Texas, in the big state where they do big things, and I'm over here in DC, in the DC area. And the thing is, what's going to work in Dawn's house may not necessarily work at Saran's house. And I want us to really think about that when we start thinking about our finances. And that's why we got to have those conversations with one another. Now, before I give it to you, is one thing I want to say. We got to have dinner table conversations, whether it's walking dinner, it's a driving dinner, or whatever it is, because we're so busy doing everything, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of people say they don't want to talk about money because I don't want people in my business.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you about my money because I don't want you in my business. But there's a way to take a step back and have a conversation about the concept of money and the concept of what to do about different things financially without telling people, oh, I got $100 in the bank.
Right.
What I'm gonna do with my $100. And I'm just using that facetiously.
Right.
Most people don't want to reveal obviously any of their financials for protection, right? Because we see crazy things happening to folks who win big money. We don't want to advertise that. But the thing is that you can talk about the concept of investing, of the concept of protecting your money, and talking, or tell them, hey, go talk to the person I talked to, go talk to Saran or Dawn, and moving things forward that way.
Right. So one of the things that, as I began to study how money works and began to kind of financially educate myself, was, as Saran was saying, that for a long time, I didn't have my own income protected. So if you think about it, we insure our cars so that if we get into an accident, our car is covered. We insure our phones, so if something happens to it. But the paycheck or the business income, or whatever your income comes through, we don't insure the income that pays for the phone, that pays for the car. And I was like, I don't know, for some reason, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, Dawn, that's not really very smart. And then as I began to study more, I began to study about savings. And it's very important to have a liquid savings account where you can draw emergency money from it when you need it. But if that is your only method of saving, most regular savings accounts earn less than 2% annually, right?
Wait. 0.25% of 1%, not 2%.
I'm sorry.
5% of 1%. Google it. Go to your bank and see how much the interest rate is.
But the rate of inflation every year is at least 3%. So our money in the bank is earning less than the rate of inflation every single year. Now, it's important to have at least one of those accounts so that you can pull from it in the need of an emergency, but that's not where we should be depositing most of our savings money. We need to be growing it and multiplying it, not just, if that makes sense. And so these are a lot of the things that I personally realized, that because of the household that I grew up in, the neighborhood that I grew up in, basically the culture that I grew up in. I always say that I grew up on the street, and this is honest to goodness the truth. I lived between the project and the white trailer trash park. And no, it's just honest. And so because that's the culture that I grew up in, I didn't have any financial education. And I guess the last thing that I want to say, at least on this venue, is that it is never too late to start. If you're in your 50s or 60s, it is never too late to start, and it's never too early to start. Don't think that because you're in your 20s or your 30s that you shouldn't be really considering how you're going to grow your money.
Right. And actually, what I'll put a pin in is, if you are in your 20s and 30s, this is the best time to do it, because we're going to talk about, I'm going to mention something because we alluded to it, but I'm gonna just put it out there on these internet streets, as they say. Compound interest. What compound interest needs is time. The time value of your money you can never get back, right? And that's why we have the families you can think about, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, and all those folks from 100 plus years ago who they still got long money, right? That's because they started hundreds of years ago,
Yes.
putting their plan in place and teaching and telling everybody this is how we're going to do things and putting together financial tools, using probably all of the financial tools available to them to do that. And but the thing is that compound interest is available to everyone.
Everybody.
And here's how it works. It's called the rule of 72. You take the number 72 and you divide it by whatever the interest rate is you are getting on your account, whatever account is. I don't care if it's savings account, 401k, 403b, TSP, annuity, checking. Well, you don't really usually get interest on checking, but CD, whatever, right? Mutual. I can't get the word out. Mutual accounts. You want to make sure that you divide it by that. And then when you divide it, the answer to that is going to tell you how long it's going to take your money to double if you do nothing else. It has nothing to do with the dollar amount you put in there. You can put $1 in there at whatever interest rate it's at and divide it by 72. It's going to tell you how long it's going to take that dollar to double without you doing anything else to it, right? And so that's compound interest. Now, what many of us end up doing, instead of earning compound interest, now I'm going to go into my debt elimination queen stuff.
Ooh, we pay compound interest.
Instead of earning compound interest, is we pay compound interest.
Yes.
And you're like, why in the world would I voluntarily pay compound interest? Well, if you're a homeowner, go pull out your amortization schedule.
Yep.
You're going to pay for your house 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Based on that amortization schedule, you will pay for your house 3 times unless you do something differently. Unless you talk to a professional who knows how to kind of work through that program and put we will use a system to use the algorithm to show you how to do it, to take you from 30 years to pay that loan to 9 years or less to pay off that mortgage, right? And if you have credit card debt, we can probably get that done in 3. Now, the thing is that because we don't know how to do it manually, right? And if you start to look at these things a little bit closer, right? If you pay, let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month, which is, depending, some people might be paying more, but let's just say $1,500, we're going to use it as a baseline. When you look at your amortization schedule, I can probably bet that the principal that's being paid to that mortgage every month from that $1,500 you pay every month is probably around $300 to $350, at least, if it's even that high. Well, how in the world are you going to pay off a couple $100,000 only paying $300 a month? You're not. It's not set up that way. It's set up for you to pay it over that 3 years. So what happens is the bank ends up collecting all their interest up front, and then you start paying principal later, and then you own the house. And so this is why we kind of have these conversations, and we go live, and I'm going to be going live a couple more times this month with some other organizations and doing some other things. But the thing is that we got to have these conversations early. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a house, because absolutely buy a house, because you need to live somewhere. If that's your goal, do it. If you're planning to buy a house, you need help, then reach out to me or Dawn. You see, I have my contact information live on the screen, saran10k.com. You can get to me through my digital business card, through any means that way. And Dawn, you can tell your website, but make sure that you get in front of someone that can help you plan out a strategy so that as you go into the house, you're not, even though you signed in the 30-year deal, you're not going in with the intent that it's going to take me 30 years to pay this off. Right. So let me finish. Let me give you the rest of these tips I got. I did write some stuff down. So protect your money. First, number 1, let's go back to protecting your money. We can all help you do that. You want to start working on some savings and investing. Mm-hmm. You want to find ways for your money to earn more money, more than the rate of inflation. Again, if you're earning less than 3% on any of your accounts, you are losing money slowly. You're going broke slowly. And nobody likes to hear this. It's not my favorite thing to tell people, but sometimes you need to spend a little less, right?
Yeah, we do.
And I'm not against the expensive coffees and all that, but you don't got to do it every day. Maybe you do it 2 days less a week. And many of us can go sit in one room in your home or apartment or wherever you live and look around. Just sit there, take 3 deep breaths. And if you're having financial challenge, and look around. And if you see a lot of stuff, that's where your money is. If you sit in a room and you look around and say, and look at all the stuff, everything in that room costs $1. And every time you spend $1 that you earn working, you are using your time and energy to buy that stuff, right? So what you want to do is take stock and really start thinking about curbing that a little bit. Can I redirect this money a little bit different so that in the future I can have a better life? That's the plan. If you need to borrow money, try to use it to try to borrow it for the purpose of making more money, if that's what you need to do.
I want to praise Jesus on that one.
If you can, you know, I mean, and everybody doesn't have that ability, because in order to borrow money from a bank, you got to have good credit, you got to have a good job, you got to show proof of income, you got to do a blood test, you got to you got to promise them your next three children and one of your friends.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but if you're going to borrow it, at least, you know, have some intent that it's going to make some money for you, and plan for at least 2 generations. If you're a mom or a dad and you have a child right now, plan for the grandkids that ain't even here right now. When you start thinking about, I'm planning for my grandkids, I'm busting my hump to make sure my kids are good, but I've got an account, I got some things set aside that when grandkids come along, they're going to be good. And then you start educating your kids that they're going to be, when they start taking care of their kids, that they're going to be planning for their grandkids. And as you continue to do that, then we'll all be in a different place. And then repeat, just keep doing it, keep talking to people. You know, often when I do webinars and I talk to people, I deputize. Listen, we just spent 30 minutes together, 45 minutes together, we go together, we friends. Mm-hmm. And what I want you to do is I'm going to deputize you to start talking to people and say, hey, you got your money together, you got to protect it, you got some things in place in case of emergency, you got some things that you don't got to ask people dollar amounts. Do you have something set up? If you don't, I want you to talk to my girl Dawn or my girl Saran. They can help you put a plan together. I don't want to get in your business, but I want to make sure you're good. Right. That's a question you can ask friends. Thanksgiving's coming. Start asking questions at the dinner table. You know, for those who may celebrate, you know, and dress up at the end of the month and have a good time, ask the people, do you have a plan if something happens? You know, they all dressed up anyway. You might as well ask them, hey, what you got going on? Talk to some people, but we really have to start being ambassadors in our families when we're collecting this information, not those squirrels hoarding information and not doing anything with it and not telling anybody and just sharing a video. And, you know, we got to get out of the, oh, I shared it, so I told people. No, you shared it. You don't know if they know. Call the 5 people closest to you. The 5 people on your iPhone or that other phone. I'm not hating. I'm just saying I don't know the name of it. Or that other phone brand. Call them, the top 5 people you talk to, and find out what they got set up. Oh, what's going on? You know, over there under their roof. Do they got a strong foundation?
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's really my closing is take action. Take action, because it's time out for collecting information and not at least setting an appointment to find out what can happen, not setting an appointment to find out if you can get your debt eliminated, not trying to find out, well, how do I protect my money? What are some of the options? Can I talk to an individual, you know, that's going to spend time with me and educate me and not just try to shove me in something? You got to get educated. This is about education. And, you know, my clients laugh because they're like, did you mail me something? Yeah, I sent you something from Amazon, because I'll send them a book. I want them to know what I know. Whether you read the book or not, I sent it to you. I sent it to you. Just read it. And I'm going to send you something that you can read in 2 hours. But the thing is that we got to get out of our own way. That's the most important piece.
I just feel like I said, it's never too early to start and it's never too late to start. And the reality is that if you're still tolerating your current financial situation and you want it to be better, but you're not doing anything toward making it better, then you're just going to continue to live in the same rat race and the same negative cycle. The reality is it doesn't matter where you're at financially. It doesn't matter if you make $10 an hour right now. There is always a possibility of making your situation better. You have to embrace the fact that there are ways to get from A to B to C to D, no matter how long that takes or what have you. The other thing is that if you continue to settle for where you're at, then you're always going to be wherever you are at, if that makes sense. And so I guess that just that part of me that I feel like raising your expectations is the impetus for miracles, really. So if you will just keep raising your expectation, if you will keep getting educated, if you will keep searching out different avenues, and definitely, setting an appointment with somebody that can help you. So what if they say, well, I need you to do this, this, and this, and let's meet in another month, or let's meet in another 3 months? Then take their advice, employ their advice, and move toward that, because otherwise you are choosing, in my opinion, when you choose to do nothing based on this thought, well, there's no way that I can make it better, or that's not even possible for me. No, there's always a possibility to move from where you're at to where you want to be. You simply have to have enough passion and drive, and to keep searching out those avenues that are going to give you the help, the assistance, the education, the inspiration that you need. And Saran and I are really, one of the things that I really love about her energy is that she's not just about making money in this business, even though we do make good money, but her heart is to help people become financially independent and financially sound.
Yeah. And the thing is that, and that doesn't come from a place of never having been there, right? And the most important part, and I see my girl Janelle in there. She said, I'm reading mine. She's reading her book I sent her. And the thing is that you have to, and let me not use definitive. Consider this. If you don't make the change now, where will you be 3 years from now? Right? And we can take it even closer. 3 months from now, will you be in the same place if you take action or don't take action? And so I'll use the analogy of exercise, right? Because, that's our second arch nemesis, right? Money and exercise and eating right? So no matter what you do, the time is going to pass anyway.
Yep.
And so the question is, over the next 3 months, where do you want to be? Do you want to be exactly where you are today? Or do you want to be at least 1 inch further along the path of protecting yourself? Dawn, I see you posted something in the Zoom chat. Post it on the Facebook chat, because it's only me and you on the Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that right now.
But where will you be? And so the question is, will you have met with I was gonna call you Saran and me Dawn. Will you have met with Dawn or Saran to at least find out where you are? Find out where you are, right? And then so at least you have a starting point. And it could be really positive, or it could be a little challenging, right? I don't like to use negative. It can be a little challenging, but the thing is that you can move forward, right? And so I want to say to Dawn's friends and followers, because I don't know y'all just met me, but I know Dawn, and here's what I know. She's dedicated to financial services. She's dedicating to not only being educated herself, but to educating others. She's passionate about helping people, which is why she's even expanded her entrepreneurial journey into this industry, right? And so the thing is that we want to talk to people. You want to talk to people that can help you to at least open up your eyes to something that maybe you haven't ever seen before, right? And I know my friends are probably like, you stalk me on Facebook, you post lots, I see all your posts, you probably email me. But I want to just say that about Dawn. And then meeting her, and when she asked me to go live, I was really tired. I was like, I don't want to go live. I don't want to get dressed. I got to put on makeup. I got to comb my hair. I got to put on the actual outfit. And I said, you know what? I can do that. You know why? Because it allows me to reach her friends and help them to understand that they need to get out of their own way and talk to Dawn to get the help they need. Now, one of the things that we do is, listen, if you're my friend and you really like Dawn and you feel like she resonates with you, you think she's super cool, you want to talk to her, go talk to her. Listen, we want you to get the information. We want you to get help. We want you to get set up. And that's the thing. We work that type of thing out. We want you to do it. And that's why we work together so closely, because this is about the collective of the community. Remember, when I first started, I told you, we want to put $1 billion in wealth in the community. And through every financial services professional that we work with in our agency, we are all out here, you know, singing the song, if you will, and letting people know we can help you get set up. We can help you. And so let me break down all the services that we give, that we can assist you with. Number one, protecting your income. Hands down, no question. Got to get that income protected. Number two, debt elimination. Now, I don't know that Dawn is where I'm at with the debt elimination, but we can still make it happen, right? Because I can still coach her and get her, and we can get this debt elimination happen. We can get you some mortgage protection. Oh, you got kids? You need college planning that you can have set up for those kids. You know, if they're two, plan. If you just got married and you plan on having kids, start planning for that college right now. We got plans for that too. Right. If you're not sure about your retirement, because here's the deal, most of us are going to need $1.5 million to $2 million at least in retirement vehicles to be able to comfortably retire and live for 20 or 30 years past the time we stop working. Right. That's in addition to whatever you may or may not get from your Social Security that you pay for every time you get paid. Then we got your retirement planning. You got to get that retirement planning and getting those things together and getting that savings and finding ways to put the compound interest into your favor, right? And those are the things that you can start thinking about. So again, let me give them to you again. Protecting your income, mortgage protection, debt elimination, college planning, retirement planning. All these things, these are the things that we specialize in our agency. And so those are the reasons you should reach out to Dawn or I'm going to put my link in the chat, even though I have it on my little, I don't know why I get out of the habit of actually typing it, but because
while you're doing that, let me
my digital business card is saran10k.com, and you can reach out and we can set something up and let's chat. Because we got to take action. Enough video watching. Take action. So if you're not taking action after this video, then I'm not going to allow you to come to my next live. No, I'm kidding. You can come to the party. But I'm just saying, stop collecting information and take action. Take action. I wasn't going to be like sixth grade. You can't come to my party. But take action. Take action now. Because if you don't take action now, then what's going to happen to your next 2 or 3 generations? What's going to happen to the people that you love and care about? And what is it that we can be doing collectively, coming together as a community to plan and strategize, not telling everybody how much money we have or don't have, but financial tools and tips and tricks to do it. So, and the last thing, if you need me to come do a webinar for you, you just use that Saran 10K. You can book a 15-minute appointment. We can talk about what you want to do, and we can get in front of your family, your church, your organization, your company, or whatever to really pull some tight information together on some topics. So that is it. That's all I have. I'm going to end the live, Dawn. It was awesome meeting with you, being in Texas. I was in Texas where they do it big today via DC, which is where I actually am.
Thank you so much, Saran. I'm so glad that my friends and followers got to meet you today.
Oh, I'm so glad my friends got to meet you too. So we're here. And if you're following us, we'll both be probably posting some more events coming up. I have another one coming up next week. I'm going live with my good friend from Dominica at the end of the month. I'm going to be doing a fundraiser with one of my favorite breast cancer foundations, Edith P. Wright Foundation, later in the month. I got some lovely ladies who we're going to be doing some wine and wealth in a couple of days too. So we have a lot of things coming up where we're going to be educating on specific topics. But today was just really to just kind of give you some love and tell you it doesn't matter where you are, you can start. So absolutely. Have a good night.
Bye-bye, you guys. Thank you.